All right, welcome back to Off the Tap. This week is episode 69, and we're doing Anheuser Busch's Premium O'Doul's Gold. What is it?
Golden non-alcoholic brew.
There
Dude,
we
you
go.
had one job. You had one job. I mean, honestly, we really only need you for a few things each week. One, remember the
Yeah.
fucking number. Number two, the intro. Number three, it's come to that. I don't even know what it is, honestly. It's come to that point in the episode where there's all these things that you say.
Oh,
Like, so
yeah.
there's all of that. Like, that's basically. So Anheuser-Busch's Premium O'Doul's Golden Non-Alcoholic Brew.
Yeah. Well, the problem is I don't have all of that written down. All I have is O'Doul's non-alcoholic.
But the other thing you can say that I feel like this beer is a little bit like Prince, art rest in peace, you know? Um,
How
which makes
so?
me think of one other because technically it's Anheuser-Busch's Premium O'Doul's Golden Non-Alcoholic Brew, but in reality, everyone knows it as just O'Doul's or O'Doul's Non-Alcoholic,
Mm-hmm.
like Prince, the symbol just by itself, or the artist formerly known as, right?
Yeah.
He went through some. So did John Cougar Mellencamp, right? For the longest time, he was just John Cougar. I don't know his whole history, but I think it was like a record deal thing or something like that. But John Cougar Mellencamp, just John Mellencamp. I think the O'Doul's is the Prince and or John Cougar Mellencamp of beers, and
Yeah.
also the staple of non-alcoholic beers, which
Mm-hmm.
is kind of bullshit when you look at the labeling. Non-alcoholic or
Yeah. We're we're down at
alcoholic.
we're down at 0.5% alcohol content on this.
It is,
Uh,
which I mean, obviously less than 2%, which I don't know if like that's the rule with alcohols for non-alcoholic beers, but nonetheless, let's get into it.
Yeah,
Premium
so
O'Doul.
if you're listening in right now and you're like, why are they doing non-alcoholic? So we're doing what is called a sober September with a bunch of buddies, and so that's what we're doing for all of September. We're gonna get into four different non-alcoholics and see how we like them. I've never done a non-alcoholic.
Ever or an
No,
O'Doul? Like I
never.
feel like never non-alcoholic beer.
Nope.
Wow. So I have had a bunch of them, but also O'Doul's is like the staple. It's
Yeah,
the poster child.
that's why we're rocking with it first, I think, because it's
Oh,
like the biggest name. I would like to. I should have done this beforehand, but I would like to pull up the nutritional facts of this thing if we can,
oh, we should. I'll pull
because
them up right now. They're gonna be,
yeah, because they're pretty high on the sugar and stuff, I imagine.
dude, 60. So only 68 calories,
That's not bad.
14.1 carbs. That's
Okay.
pretty heavy. But 1.1 gram of protein, so more
Oh,
than your
okay.
average beer.
Look at that. Throwing in some beef in this stuff or what?
Dude, this is essentially like we always joke about there being a loaf of bread in a can or a loaf of bread in the bottle. Like this is
This
actually
is
pretty close.
actually yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna taste it and see what
It
we got.
smells okay. Also, so I'm gonna make a couple of points. It smells like like old bar, but like not in a bad way.
No, yeah. This smells like Molly's Pub in Conroe.
Exactly. So just old bar beer. Also what's crazy is I don't dude, this is weird to think of. I drink a lot of O'Doul's and I'm like obviously I travel with people that sometimes they just for one reason or another aren't drinking beer or just don't drink beer because that's just their lifestyle. So they
Mm-hmm.
go to there's a bunch of non-alcoholic beers, but they'll go to an O'Doul's because that's like the every bar if has one option at least for a non-alcoholic beer, and it's O'Doul's usually, right?
Yeah.
I've never seen one in a glass ever. It's always just straight out of the bottle. And dude, I'll be honest with you, like this is a perfect color for
Dude,
just an American beer. What?
hilariously, you can't see it right now, but your face is going
No, I
through
can see it.
the glass.
Yeah, it's crazy. No other beer I've ever held up does that. I
Yeah,
looked like
I
that
know.
guy off of the guy that watches the trains. Have you ever seen that guy
Yes, yeah. Yeah,
with
yeah,
the
yeah.
weird ass camera angle?
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, that's a beautiful.
It's like those yeah, it's like
It's a
those
beautiful
carnival
color.
mirrors. Those
Yeah.
carnival mirrors got you all
So I almost feel like I'm gonna just drink the one out of this glass.
because it's not normal.
No,
I'll tell you what, it tastes like a normal beer.
it does. I mean, you can tell that it doesn't have, um, you can tell that it doesn't have alcohol in it, but
Yeah. Um, you can definitely tell, but it tastes a lot to me almost like a Rolling Rock.
it does. I was just gonna say, I don't feel it's as. I was just about to make the comment that, like, I mean, it's a beer for sure, but it doesn't have a whole lot of flavor.
No, 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 it doesn't. It
And
doesn't.
then you
And
were like,
then,
"Well, it tastes like a Rolling Rock."
in fact, you can taste water. I can taste
Yeah, yeah.
water in it for sure. But it is
I
kind of nice. It's kind of nice just to have like maybe have these just to kind of throw back, man.
I watched this thing. Oh yeah, so we in a minute I want to get into like where I think they're best poised for, and also like it's a weird concept to think of, but I really do like the fact that like I like non-alcoholic beers. Um, a couple of comments I would make. Every single one of them is stacked with carbohydrates. I know that has something to do with the way that it's made, but like
Hmm.
shoot, if if they were think about how great of a beverage this would be. If like 68 calories, that's less than a soda, that's like roughly right middle of the road. I would eat like think about kombucha and stuff like that. That's usually 60, 70 calories. But
Hmm.
with this beer type flavor and less carbs, like that's the market somebody needs to get into. Like right now everybody's trying to make an alcoholic beer with low carbs, which I guess for obvious reasons the market's probably a lot larger for it. But everybody wants an alcoholic beer for like the highest percentage you can get with the lowest calories and the lowest carbs. Why is nobody shooting for that on the non-alcoholic beer spectrum?
Maybe just because they don't care. They're like,
I
well, I'm
know.
cutting the alcohol out. I might as well get these carbs in me. You know. Um. Yeah. So this is my first experience. It's pretty. It's pretty good though.
It's kind of a weird, like you can tell it's different. I mean, obviously, it's not like it's made by Anheuser Busch. I don't know if it's the recipe. I'm looking this up. I don't know if it's like the recipe of Budweiser and they just remove the alcohol. Um, but it doesn't taste quite like that. And I don't know if it's the alcohol or if it's the fact that
Yeah. I wonder how they how I want. I need to know how they brew it because if it's brewed with like just that minimal of alcohol in it, I like. What are they doing? Are they just you know? Is it almost like a what is that stuff? Like a concentrate? You know, is it almost like a concentrate and then they're just mixing it with water with so
no, no,
much? You
no.
know what I mean?
So I did just check it out. So obviously, O'Doul's is a non-alcoholic beer by legal standards. So we're gonna have to investigate that a little more.
Yeah.
Meaning that it has only a trace amount of alcohol in it. The amount of O'Doul alcohol in O'Doul's is actually 0.4%. So they're not lying when they say contains less than zero point 0.5.
Okay.
Um, but so that's less than the industry standard, and it is brewed with alcohol, but the alcohol is removed after brewing.
How do you remove alcohol?
I don't know. I mean, I would imagine distill like heat it up and the alcohol, just like you would distill any
Just
type of liquor.
just cut it with water?
No, no, you just heat it up. The
Yeah.
alcohol evaporates and you distill it later, but I'm sure they're not distilling it. And then whatever's left
R-
in the tank.
run her through the microwave. We got to get this
Oh,
liquor out.
so O'Doul's is typically brewed with hops and grains like a regular beer and is carbonated to produce the bubbly texture as
It's
opposed
given.
to.
It's bubbly.
Oh yeah, it's bubbly. Um
It's gonna give me regular beer burps
oh
for
yeah,
sure.
I
In
would have.
fact, they're hitting hard.
Yeah, no they do. Um dude, so what I guess in your opinion, why have you never had a non-alcoholic beer? I'll just start off with some questions. This now we're going off script, but what's your thought here?
Well, to be fair, if I'm gonna go drink some beer, I'm gonna get a little buzz going. But for me, it was always like, why spend money on the non-alkies when I can just grab some Carbox or some Shiners or whatever? So it's more or less like a money thing, not
Okay.
necessarily like a worry about the flavor thing, but
Yeah,
like, can I justify buying beer if it's not actually beer type thing?
I got you. So then in your opinion, and I'm going to find out what the world thinks by using our Google friend. honestly, I almost accidentally used Bing. I was like, "Ah." But
Oh my gosh.
what what would you say when you think of non-alcoholic beers? What do you think of? I feel like they carry a negative. I'm gonna dive into this a little deeper, but I feel like they carry
What
like a negative connotation,
what do you mean? What do I
like
like when I think of non-alcoholic beers, I think of O'Doul's.
which is great. I mean, that's branding
Yeah.
for you right there. But I
Yeah.
mean, what do you think? Like, why do you think this is a genre, and why do you think this is something?
I think this is for the people that still like to enjoy beer but are trying to cut, alcohol out of their lives maybe for whatever reason it might be. Um, religious reasons or just health reasons or, any plethora of different reasons. That would be my guess. Like cuz quite honestly, we all know obviously that both of us here love beer, right?
Yeah.
But if I went to the doctor and they were like, "Hey man, you should probably stop drinking beer." I would be like, "Can I do non-alcoholics?"
Yeah, so in
You
that
know?
case, I would say it's not you stopping drink. That's what I'm saying. People separate them. Like it's still a beer. I'm not splitting hairs here. But like, is the question that I can't drink beer, or is the question that I can't drink alcohol? Because I think that's the question that you're answering.
Well, it's probably when they tell you to stop drinking beer or alcohol, they mean strong stuff, you know. But
They
I
do,
but I
but
assume
like
that something that's less than 0.5% it would be okay to have a couple.
no. I know that for sure, but I'm saying like in my opinion, whenever somebody says like whenever the doctor says, let's say, you have to stop drinking beer. In my mind, I'm going to say beer or alcohol. Because obviously, if the answer is alcohol, then yes, I can't have beer. I got to go to something like an O'Doul's. Okay.
Yeah.
Which brings me, there's 2 points that I'm trying to make off of this. The other thing is, there's a good chance he says beer, though. Like, not the alcohol piece, but just beer because of its sugar content and because of, all the other things that are, you know,
Yeah.
whatever.
So then you would just
Um,
go to liquor.
Yeah, dude, just straight vodka, just straight, just chugging,
Just
just through a funnel.
whiskey, just throwing
No,
bottles of whiskey back.
but no, the point I was gonna make is so this kind of brought me back to what I was alluding to before. Like, I think a lot of people look at people that drink O'Doul's or drink non-alcoholic beverages as like, oh, maybe in a past life they had an issue, and so they can't give it up because they like the flavor, but they
Yeah.
can't have the, they're trying to stay clean, and that might
Yeah,
be
man.
for some folks. I just feel like
Hey, dude.
sometimes they're always like, oh, non-alcoholic beers, when like, to be 100% honest, I just love the taste of beer. O'Doul's is by far not my favorite. Okay, I'm gonna come out of the gate and say that it'll have a proper rating. It's the flagship, by the way, though. Everything else gets compared to it, obviously.
Yeah.
um but I like the fact that, like, I love the taste of beer so much that honestly, if it didn't have so many carbohydrates in it, I would probably drink it all of the time because I can basically have beer all day long, the taste of beer all day long without alcohol. So I love it for tasks where you got to be sharp minded,
But you
But
want a beer.
yeah, but you want the taste of beer because, dude, there's nothing else that compares to like what we think of as beer. Like you can get some satisfaction from a drink, like from a Coke or a Dr. Pepper or a Diet Dr. Pepper or even a seltzer water. Like, some of that will like quench that feeling that you want for a beer. But
Hmm.
there's just something missing a little more than what's missing in the O'Doul's, which is the alcohol, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Like it'd be nice to have, when you're studying or doing some work or whatever, just to have one on the side, but you don't want to get a buzz going and, lose track of what you're trying to do.
A couple of other things I would mention is like, what about like two things is, um, I wonder if you get dehydrated at the same rate.
Well, yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Because I read somewhere or I saw something. I say I read. When people these days, by the way, this is a side note, but when people say I read somewhere these days, it usually means they saw it in a fucking TikTok.
Yeah,
But
or
anyway,
social media, some kind of
whatever.
social
Yeah,
media.
yeah. So I saw this thing somewhere that was like alcohol is really not the piece that dehydrates you. Like you when you drink beer, you stay fairly hydrated. It's the way your body metabolizes certain things. I don't really remember what it said. Obviously, I wasn't paying attention. But nonetheless, they don't blame dehydration on alcohol or on beer. So I wonder how this stacks up. Like I wonder
I
if I
mean,
straight up murdered like murdered a 12 pack of O'Doul's and then the next day murdered a 12 pack of whatever Natty Lights and like how dehydrated I was if there was like a dehydration meter.
we should do research and find out.
I mean, I think that's worth it. I mean, that's a
That's
good selling point.
it doesn't. Can't you get dehydrated off of liquor too though, like whiskey and
Oh, I mean, I get like anytime I always thought that you felt hungover because you were dehydrated, but
yeah, that's what I
I'm
thought.
I'm I think those aren't even correlated, dude. This TikTok has the world upside down. And by the world, I mean at least my world. That's
Yeah,
it. But
the world of us drinkers.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that is a good question. I wonder if this would because there's more sugar and stuff in this, right? Or there was more
I would imagine if there's more carbohydrates.
carbs, yeah. So yeah, I wonder because
The other
that would
thing
dehydrate you.
I can say without a doubt that it tastes better out of the bottle. So I'm gonna drink the next one
Really?
that way. Yeah. And I don't know, because honest, this is another thing that I'm thinking of, and this might have screwed up everything that we've done to this point. I'm like 30 plus episodes in now, and like I feel like sometimes a glass, if not handled properly, can change the way things taste. I don't want to think about it because it kind of scares me and freaks me out.
Maybe you should take a sip first and then pour.
Yeah, and honestly, most things I've actually well, but that first taste out of a and O'Doul's is no exception. That first taste out of a bottle always tastes like rusty metal cap anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it does. It tastes like rusty metal beer cap from, one that's been left in the cooler from going to the lake or the beach like 3 weeks prior.
yeah, like this one's not. Well, is this? Yeah, this one's not. But like a lot of the beer bottles that have like the paper on them, where like the paper gets all soggy and starts to come
Mm-hmm.
off. I guess any like Miller Lite would be that way. Also, just as a fun fact, O'Doul's is the official brew of the PGA Tour. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, says it on the back there. I don't know.
Trying to promote some healthiness out there on the tour?
I can assure you, I've never seen John Daly with an O'Doul's in his hand. I'll
No.
put it that way.
Bud heavies only, bro.
Yeah, now I think it's Miller Lights, but either way, he's just like, what is that, a filter on that cigarette? I don't think so. I'm out.
Rip. Just rip the filter off and start hitting that beach. Oh
All right, so
man.
let's get into the back of it here. So, O'Doul starts as a fine premium Anheuser Busch beer, full brewed using only the finest ingredients, fully fermented and cold aged, resulting in a refreshing, flavorful golden brew that finishes smooth. I don't think they refer to any of their other beers as golden, do they?
I don't know. Anheuser Busch, probably not. They
Yeah,
don't want. I mean, Bud Light maybe.
I don't. That's not golden.
I mean, it looks like piss whenever you pour it out.
As of late, it's red-headed. But anyway, I would say I wonder if this is considered a malt beverage, maybe because they remove the alcohol. There's so many questions that we have that we didn't start it. We didn't set out to answer, and now they've become our burden as we've made our
We're
way
gonna
through.
we're gonna learn it as we go through the month. We're gonna
Yeah,
figure these
yeah.
things out.
I don't
We'll
expect.
we'll do research and learn new things each week. Because this is a whole new realm for me. I've never traveled down this path, so I gotta figure out all the twists and turns as we go along.
Did you put a little more emphasis on the W in twist? That was kind of hardcore.
Twists,
Yeah, I've heard of like
twists and
what and where and why, but never twist.
twists and turns. Yeah, that's my southern twang that I got.
Gently and naturally removed. Dude, I love the way that this is marketed. The only difference, all right, between O'Doul's and other malt beverages or beers is that the alcohol is gently and naturally removed after the maturing processes.
What are they doing? Scooping it with their hands and stuff? What's going
I
on?
don't know, but also people that pronounce maturing as maturing is also very frustrating.
Yeah, they
We've
are
said that
very
we
frustrating.
I don't know if we've ever joked about this on pod, but it's the same as, and I know sometimes it's just something that happens, so I don't want to offend anybody. But like people that put an R in ideas,
Idears?
same ideas are the same people that say maturing, and
I've never
or-
understood the idears thing.
I don't either because like I can understand mispronouncing maturing because of like how you emphasis, right?
Yeah,
But adding the letter R,
doesn't
ideas.
doesn't make any sense, bro.
I mean,
Also makes it harder to pronounce, doesn't it?
I'm sure there's like a legitimate reason why, because it's not like one type of person does it. Like I would say there's like a pretty good redneck population that does it, but like there's also people that are not from the South
They do it.
that do it as well.
It's kind of a nationwide epidemic
Yeah,
to sorts.
I guess they kind of fall in that same boat. Man, this is going to be a stretch, but they kind of fall in that same boat as like the people that eat cilantro and it has a soapy taste. Like it's not their fault. It's just the way they're programmed. That's how I feel
That's
about people that add an R to ideas.
that's a very unfortunate taste or taste bud palette if you can't eat cilantro without tasting soap.
It is, but in the grand scheme of things, would you rather, if you had to pick one or the other, would you rather when you eat, and this is a very tough one, but I need you to think about this and break this down. Would you rather every time that you taste cilantro, it tastes like soap, or only be able to say ideas with an R in it?
Mm.
Because here's the thing.
I love me some
In one,
cilantro, bro.
me too. I love it. It's like the staple of anything that corn tortillas and cilantro pretty much go with everything,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
yeah.
So that one is selfish. Like, yeah, I'm giving up cilantro, but also the world around me is not uncomfortable in that scenario, you know? So that's a selfish one.
I mean, imagine
But
having to go somewhere though and say no cilantro.
I mean, that's trippy in and of itself. It seems like sacrilege. You know, it's blasphemy,
You could never
honestly.
eat Mexican food.
Well, yeah, or I feel like I'd be able to program my brain to be like, nah, bro, it ain't soap. Like, I feel like I could do that before. Like, can you imagine
I
every
think
time
so.
you were like, I don't know how often I use Ideas, but I would. Whew, the whole world
I
immediately. Can you
it,
listen? If you ever wanted a group of people to immediately just have a what the fuck moment, just a microphone, a group of people where you're giving a presentation and you say ideas, and immediately people go collectively as a group, huh?
what?
That seemed off just slightly. It has the same volume of offness that O'Doul's has alcohol in it.
Well,
Just a pinch.
here's the thing though: is if I could only say ideas, pronouncing it ideas,
You would avoid saying it. You
I
would
would just
try.
not say it. I
All
would
right.
just say, You got any thoughts on that?"
Yeah, I mean I get it. You're right. Uh that is a good point, but I just don't know if it would be. Here's the thing. I wouldn't want that type of anxiety. I wouldn't want that fear of risking it and slipping up and actually saying it. I'd much rather give up cilantro. And that's just how hard that I draw the line. Like I love cilantro, but that's just where I'm at on that. So that's where I'm at. In case you
Um,
guys were wondering.
yeah,
Would I rather? I would rather give up cilantro than accidentally have the potential of saying ideas with an R in it.
I think I'd rather accidentally say ideas than give up cilantro. There's
Dude,
nothing.
also,
The cilantro on top of a street taco, bro. Mm.
people don't forget that though. Like, I might not remember all of their names, but I can still, in a visual lineup, pick out the last five people that said ideas in front of me. Because it just, boom.
But I mean, people also would forget that you don't like cilantro because it tastes like soap, and then they would put cilantro in your food whenever you went there.
Dude, I know you're right, but considered a mispronunciation and it oh my lord. All right, so here's the thing. Um thank you Google for coming back with this. I know we've brought this up multiple times, but like my search engine screener for the government is like this, dude. Not a chance.
Not a
Why does
chance in
O'Doul's
hell.
not why does O'Doul's not have alcohol? I mean, why does O'Doul's have a small percentage of alcohol in it? Right? Why does is it brewed with or without it? The next comment was, why do some people say ideas instead of ideas? Which, by the way, I spelled, as you would assume, Idears, ideas, and it corrected me. But that's neither here nor there. The short answer is that the addition of an R sound at the end of a word like soda,
Soder?
yeah, soda,
Yeah.
and idea is a regionalism and isn't considered a mispronunciation. Okay, first off, who's just getting to vote on that? Like, I think that's bullshit. Like,
First of all, can we talk about how you don't say soda, anyways.
soda.
You don't say soda
Well, we don't
we say
here.
everything's Coke.
That is true. They did not specify what the regionalism is, like
Yeah.
where that region is. I'm assuming it's rednecks in the South, but very small percentage that are adding the R to soda because otherwise they'd be calling it a Coker.
Yeah. Exactly.
And there's
Exactly. I
already
mean,
there's already an R at the end of Dr. Pepper, so maybe that's where they're hiding it in. But
yeah.
in English words spelled with R, the consonant used to be fully pronounced everywhere.
Used
I
to be
don't even know
fully
what that
pronounced
means.
everywhere. Hmm.
Take the
Okay.
word better as an example. The speaker pronounces it beta, but they add the R if a vowel sound. Listen, this is way too confusing. I say
Yeah,
better
we've gone
with an
too far,
R.
I think.
But anyways,
We've gone too
nonetheless,
far onto Google.
apparently, according to the world, idea is a thing and it's acceptable. I'm going to disagree,
Yeah.
and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I disagree as well.
Also, one other thing that I just have to bring up because it reminds me of this every time. I wonder why they named it O'Doul's because I guess that's maybe like just a super Irish thing. I guess.
I
Um,
guess.
but every time I say O'Doul's out loud, I think of O'Doyle rules from Billy Madison.
Yeah, see,
Also, go ahead.
whenever you mentioned that, I thought It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia because I swear there's a family that their last name is O'Doyle in that,
Oh, maybe, but they
but I could be
also
wrong.
like it's from Billy Madison. But here's the other thing that always happens to me. I see it and I go, "Oh, Doyle rules," and I immediately think of Billy Madison, and then I say it out loud. Oh, that's from Billy Madison, and then my mind panics and goes, "Or was it Happy Gilmore?" Because for a
No, it's
second
Billy
there,
Madison.
it is Billy Madison, but for a second there, those movies were out at the same time, very popular. They're also somebody's name. And
Yeah,
so you get confused saying them out loud sometimes.
yeah.
Do you struggle with that?
And like you said, they were out at the same time, roughly, right? Because I mean, yeah, he looks exactly the same in both of them. Like he dresses the same, everything is the same.
And the name of his production company is Happy Madison.
Yeah, Happy
So that's
Madison.
even more sketchy.
Yeah, yeah. It it it, it is definitely Billy Madison though, because it's one of the kids at school, right?
Yeah. Because remember, he's in like kindergarten or whatever, and it's the little
Mm,
red. They're all redheaded. Oh, Doyle rules, and like I don't know, crunches his lunch or something, all the way up to high school. It's there's like a
yeah.
brother in every grade.
I like how they really focused on like the one grade in that movie. It was like third grade or something,
Yeah.
where they like go on because of the teacher, the teacher was, right?
Yeah, I think it was like fifth grade or sixth grade.
Yeah, because they go on that field trip and that kid like pees himself.
Yeah. You're not
And so,
cool unless you piss your pants.
yeah. But they
Yeah.
spent like a hot 25 minutes on that grade, and then they were like, he made it through the rest. We don't got to worry about it.
Yeah.
Like,
Then it
boy,
was
just made
well.
it through high school.
It's like a little unrealistic for us to spend 20 minutes on 12 years of education.
Yeah.
So they were just like, all right, let's hit the real quick up front. Let's give a little mini montage to where people think, oh, this will be quick. And then, boom, let's hit it hard in the sixth grade because obviously you have the smoking hot teacher. And then, boom, right back to montage.
Also, who is the most iconic character in that movie?
Chris Farley as the bus
Yes,
driver, hands
absolutely.
down.
Yeah. He had 4 lines in the entire movie, and he's probably the most remembered character.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like just his reactions to
What
things.
is the teacher's name? It's Veronica something, right?
That Veronica, I can't think of her last name. Damn it.
Is one piece of ace.
One hot piece of ace.
I
Um,
know. Oh man. What a classic, dude.
uh,
I saw a thing too that listed like all the movies that he released in that like 5 year span, and they were like, this needs to be written about in history books because it was like banger after it was like what
but
Big Daddy, Mr. Deeds,
yeah,
uh
but
Happy Gilmore.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison, I think, would have been a lot before that. But I mean, they were pretty close, but like a lot, many years before that. Here's what's crazy to me. I don't think any of them were successful when they launched. And I actually saw an interview he did with like Letterman or with somebody that was like every one of them failed coming out of the gate, but then gained this cult following. And so it got to the point where like they just knew his stuff was going to tank at the beginning and they were playing the long game, just hoping for the best.
Really?
Yeah.
And now
So,
it's like the opposite. If something comes out with him in it, everyone's like, let's go.
oh yeah, that Veronica Vaughn.
Yeah. Is one hot piece of ace.
Ace. He eats all
Oh
those things.
man.
What sick individual would eat 26 kids' lunches?
Dude, I listen, I don't remember if I've ever said this on the podcast or not, but Chris Farley, where I mean, we all love and miss Chris
Yeah.
Farley, right? But I truly 100% believe that I love Kevin James. Okay?
Yeah. I
He's
don't,
funny.
but
He's well, I wouldn't say love. I enjoy his stuff, right? I enjoyed The King of Queens. I enjoy him in Grown Ups and whatnot, but
mall cop.
Mall Cop. But there is no chance in hell he gets into Grown Ups or Mall Cop if Chris Farley was alive.
Oh,
There's
hands down.
no way on the face of this earth.
You, but
Absolutely
you,
no way.
so you say that? I mean, no, I 100% agree with that. Because that's, I mean, obviously there was a vacancy, right?
It's right.
Um,
It's literally Chris Farley's role. Well, first of all, because he's part of the Happy Madison group of people, right?
yeah.
So he would have been in Grown Ups either way. But Mall Cop too. That movie is quite literally the definition of what Chris Farley was as an actor.
Here's something else that's real trippy to think about, and I don't know if you've ever done it, but I think about it a lot whenever I think of him. Call back to an old episode. I still only think about it half as much as I think about Conway Twitty's hair. But anyway, what if, because I think this is inevitable, let's say Chris Farley stays around. I think he probably had some undiscovered um serious role potential.
What do you mean?
I like he was always this slapstick kind of character and he always, just hilarious with whatever part that he played. To your point, Mall Cop would have been him. He would have been in Grown Ups. He would have had a lot of other comedic roles. But I could have seen him having a number of roles later in his career where he has like a mental switch where
Mm,
he's portraying a serious character,
yeah.
but that's maybe mentally off. Like not in a bad way, but like someone who's obviously, as he did, someone who's struggling with something, someone who is a serious role. Like I mean, for instance, like Martin Sheen, not Charlie, but
Mm,
Martin Sheen can be extremely comedic, but also extremely like dramatic as an actor. I feel, and people would fight me on this because we only saw Farley in this one little clip. I feel he was capable probably of a lot more because I think deep down inside, obviously, he wanted everybody to laugh, but he just wanted everybody to react appropriately to
Yeah.
whatever he was presenting. So I
Yeah.
feel like if given the opportunity way later in life, or not even later in life, fuck in his prime, given the opportunity to take on a role where he was like a main character that was like a detective that was struggling with a home life or that was fighting some shit at work. Like I could see him being in a movie like Seven. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever
Oh
seen
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah, yeah. With
Right?
it's Morgan
As like
Freeman and Brad Pitt.
Yeah, as like Brad
Oh.
Pitt's, I mean, again, maybe not as that exact character, but in a very similar type role where, like, yeah, they're comedic and they screw with each other and there's these funny little nuances along the way, but like, he is addicted to figuring out and solving this issue. I don't
Mm.
remember who I was having this conversation with, but they were like, Farley? No, you're a fucking idiot. And I was like, I know, you say that, but like his passion, once you pull back like 50 layers of the onion, I think his passion for garnering the response that based on whatever he's portraying or whatever other people are portraying, it was so much more addictive to him than just making people laugh. I mean,
Mm.
obviously, he wanted everybody to laugh. I didn't know the guy personally. I just feel like deep down inside, if his job was to make you cry, he would kill himself trying to make it happen. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, I mean, he did.
Well, I know, but you see what I'm saying.
Yeah. No. No. I get it. I'm just saying that's how much he loved his craft.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. He was willing to go to those lengths to suppress whatever he was dealing with to make other people laugh.
Yeah.
But
Didn't
yeah.
mean it to get dark there. It was a very interesting path that we took because I think there's some people that, like Jim Carrey. I mean, you can say what you, I mean, the guy's kind of off his rocker. You can say what you want to about the guy, but I think he does very well in both comedic roles and in serious roles.
Yeah. What was the one? What was the serious one that he did? Was it
Numbers, the number 23 or
something
something
like
like that.
that? Something like that.
Yeah, dude. 1 hour photo. You ever saw that?
That was Jim Carrey.
No, that was
Oh.
Robin Williams. But
Oh
dude,
yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
Robin Williams was an incredible actor too.
I agree. I'm just saying,
He
like,
had he in fact I watched Mrs. Doubtfire the other day actually. We mentioned this. What a classic, dude. What a great could you imagine if that movie was made today though? Boy, howdy.
it's my first day as a woman. I'm already having hot flashes. And he
Yeah.
catches his fake boobs on fire.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. It was a run by fruiting, my dear.
Dude, my
In
favorite, whenever he panics and he sticks his face in that freaking
the
cake
pie. Yeah.
out of the damn thing.
Yeah.
Good times.
Oh god. Do
No, it was
you want two drops? Oh,
cream and your sugar, dear.
yeah. Oh
I
man.
don't even remember. Like, I remember obviously Doubtfire, but why did he? Her first name was Euphegenia. What the hell does that even? Was that part of the? I never realized if that was part of the newspaper or not.
I don't know. I bet he probably just thought about it afterwards, but I just watched it and I didn't see that in the newspaper. No, all I saw
Oh,
was
dude.
Doubtfire.
A shopkeeper named Annabella Coots who owned. Oh no, that's like the real story. Yeah, remember he's looking down at the paper and he's like, "Oh shit, shit,
Yeah. What's my name, dearie?
doubt. What is my name? Doubtfire." And then he
Huh?
just throws out Euphegenia, and you're like, "What?"
Yeah. Oh man, great movie. It's on Hulu if anyone's interested in watching it right now.
Oh man, you know what? I don't want to call attention to this. Obviously, we have a few. You guys, slowly but surely, we are generating a new list of backup topics. One of which is not going to be added to this, but I think we should set it aside for next week's discussion and not kind of dive in and break into it right now. But two things as far as speaking of homework, I finally, because you've been beating me over the head with this for like a month, I finally watched my first episode of Home Improvement as the
Yes.
rerun. I mean,
Yes.
obviously,
Oh man, it's so good. I finished it already.
I have not. The thing I don't. I mean, you have to correct me if I'm wrong, but like, I imagine back in the Gap they had 30-minute run times. So with commercials, it's like 15 minutes. I don't know. I don't know exactly how
Uh,
long the
the
episodes are. They're
episodes
pretty
without
short.
the episodes without commercials on Disney are like 22 minutes.
Okay, so then in
So,
line with a 30-minute episode, I guess. But yeah, I watched the first one. I don't know if it was today or if it was yesterday. I can't
yeah.
remember.
It's
But yeah,
really good. It man, it like it I don't know. A lot of people like today might not like it, I guess, because of like the dynamic of the family maybe, but to me they're like, well, cuz like, there's situations where it's like, oh, men do this and
oh
women do
yeah,
that, but like in the grand scheme of things, it was actually a really progressive show about like
yeah.
about the
So
marriage.
that's what I was gonna tell you. Is so even in the first episode, right? Which you probably can't remember back specifically to that, but in the first episode, I would imagine. I think it was like 91, maybe.
Yeah.
At a very critical moment, like I think Tim Allen, because I think Tim Allen is the one who pitched them on the idea. And you can say what you want about the guy. He's obviously had his ups and downs. I don't know where he's been for the last, when he's not Santa Claus, for the last 20 years. But he pitched him on the idea of it, and a lot of it makes sense from his perspective of what was going on in the world at the time. Because
Mhm.
the first episode, he obviously is doing the manly things or whatever. Like he's trying to freaking put this like 6 horsepower, 7 horsepower engine in the friggin' dishwasher.
Yeah.
And but she is trying to go back to work after the boys have come up in age a bit, and she goes to try to get this job, and she doesn't end up getting the job. And the whole time he wants to resolve the situation or solve the issue for her. So one, it brings that up that hey, you don't have to always solve the issue. That's the man versus female thing. You don't always have to
Yeah.
solve the issue, just listen. But the second thing is she brings up right away, look, the job is not for you, the job is not for money, the job is not for any of that, the job is for me. Like as a mom, I want to go to work. This is what something I want to do. And it's hard for him to wrap his mind around that. And that would have been a very trending topic I would imagine for the early 90s. Like, listen,
Mhm.
it's my right if I want to go back to work and I want to do this and want to do that or whatever. Like it would have been a touchy subject that he's just immediately they drop first episode ever, they drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
We're going to deal with this right here. Right?
Mhm.
He also talks about, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff entangled in that. He talks about men getting back to their roots, but not the roots of like, manly men. It's
Mhm.
about talking about things and about, experiencing things with your kids and guiding your kids and pulling them away from these other things that it's your responsibility to do.
Yeah.
And so it's just crazy to think all that's packed into 22 minutes at the outset, and they were like, we are rolling the dice on this. People are either going to
Oh,
absolutely love it or they're going to be
or
like, screw this,
hate
don't tell
it.
me how to live my life, right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting. And again, that's the first episode, so I can only imagine they build on that over the 7 years that it
Oh yeah.
ran. The
Oh
world
yeah.
was a different place when they in 90.
8. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not gonna say anything like story wise for anybody that does go watch it, but as the as
Spoiler
the
alert, it's over, but yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
no, as the show goes on, right? Like the last season, there's a character that leaves the show, right? Um, and like I was thinking like, did the show end because of that, or was that the last season anyways? And when I started the last season, I was like, I think it was ending anyways. Like that just seems like 8 seasons of a sitcom is pretty solid of a run, right?
Yeah.
But as I was watching the season go on and the way that the episodes were being put together, I think they got about halfway through and something with the ratings changed because said character left the show. And they started panicking and were like, we need to wrap this up. And the last like
Mhm.
3 or 4 episodes, it was pretty rushed. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
I think it might have been because the character left the show, the actor left the show, and some audience members might have not enjoyed it as much anymore. I'll
I
tell
mean,
you, I did not enjoy it the last season as much because he was gone. So
I would agree, he or she. What I would say, I agree, is and I wasn't doing that to be proper. I just didn't want to spoiler alert it. Uh
Yeah. Yeah, that's my bad.
I mean, as if, dude, we're like protecting the show as if it wasn't over 2 decades ago.
Yeah. No, I know, but so there's some people that might not have seen it.
Um, yeah, I would imagine that possibly could have been the case. I would say though, also like it had probably run its course. Like, I don't know how many lessons we needed Tim Allen to
No.
teach us.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but he'd probably done his fair share. And
Yeah,
plus, I mean,
that's
when did
fair.
he play Santa Claus? He had
Oh
to have
man,
done
let
that
me
in the meantime, right? Look, dude, we're gonna
Yeah,
go to Google,
let's look it
close
up.
this
I'm
out.
pretty sure the Santa Claus one was 94, I think. So it would have been in the midst of that. That's what my guess is going to be.
Yeah,
Uh but
1994. Yeah,
yeah.
so he was
So,
just in his prime.
and listen, my biggest sell to everyone also is like it's really cool to watch. It's cool to watch the wife, right? The mother kind of grow in her own role as well. But I loved watching Tim Allen as the dad grow with the sons, like the relationship, because my father with it reminded me a lot of my father with me, right? And every time something would happen and he would react in a certain way, I'd be like, "Yep, that's exactly correct. That is
Yeah,
exactly how it works." So that's what I thought the most. And the last two seasons are very rich in that aspect of like that relationship dynamic making a complete turn because all the kids are in high school now. You know, some of them are starting to drive and stuff, and he's like, "Hey, you better watch your shit." You know what I mean? Instead of being like, "Oh, give them a break." You know?
do they? I mean, I know we didn't want to make this whole episode about that, but do they tackle? And I think I've asked you this, and maybe you. I don't want to get into it, but like, do they tackle things that stereotypically you would with your kids, like the sex talk and the drinking and driving and drugs and
So
all of those things?
they didn't do drinking and driving. I don't think. Um, at least not in like a direct episode sense, but there was a drug episode, like a weed episode, and a what was the first one you said?
Like sex, like
Yeah,
that, yeah.
they have a sex talk episode too. That one's
And
pretty funny.
I always want to believe that it's with the youngest
Yes.
boy, isn't it?
No, it's with the oldest,
Oh,
Brad,
okay.
because Tim's trying to make it not awkward to tell him because
Yeah.
he's like this is awkward for me, so he just keeps making freaking comparisons to cars. Oh god, I won't spoil it any further, but it's hilarious. They're just in the garage and he's like, "Oh man, it's kind of like this," pointing to stuff on the car
Dude, also what I think is what people fail to realize too is how challenging it is in 22 minutes
to
to
get that
tell,
much of a story.
yeah, to establish any real story. Like, I don't think that's even a challenge anymore because, dude, now it's like you're getting an hour long show. Pretty much everything's an hour long now. You know what I
Well,
mean?
22 minutes to get a story across, like a lesson across, and be funny,
Yeah.
like
And
just
to
entertaining.
to to have a setup, to have some back and forth, a side, plot. You always need like a couple of little random side plots, and then a resolution, a lesson, all with humor in 22 minutes. That's pretty hard.
Yeah, it is, and they did it for 8 years.
Yeah.
That's pretty insane. I mean, well, I was gonna say Seinfeld did it, but Seinfeld wasn't out here teaching lessons. They were literally
No.
just drinking coffee and talking.
And like, yeah, I guess there was a lot of storyline, but they were all kind of like arbitrary concepts.
Was
One
there? I mean,
last,
there was like a storyline in Seinfeld, kind of, but it was more or less a bunch of like side quest episodes. You
it was
know?
all side quest episodes where occasionally you had to have remaining knowledge,
Yeah,
like where
exactly.
he would Newman, and you would just have to know that, or certain thing. You'd have to keep up with like the fact that Kramer went on strike 20 years ago or whatever, and just, oh, we're getting the call back. We're getting the call back.
Yeah.
So like all those kinds of things. But yeah, I don't think it was like and I don't know how much I haven't gotten much into home improvement, so I don't know if there's like any continuity that you need to maintain as you understand it. But it's gonna be nice to relive, and also the fact that it's like short enough, I can binge it, but like get some progress. I hate when you
Yeah.
this is how fucking we're programmed as Americans now. Like I want to be able to binge it, but I don't want it to take forever, but I don't want it to be over too quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, exactly. It's
Yeah.
it's it's something about the quickness of the episodes, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't listen, modern brains are designed to intake so much content so quickly now because of social media. So my brain is like, "Oh my god, 45-minute episodes?" Whew.
Nope. Not
But
gonna bite
22
that off.
minutes, bro? I can
Dude,
knock that out.
also I could do like I might only have 45 minutes to watch TV in a day. And the fact that it's the same amount of television, but the fact that I'm getting
I want 2
two
episodes.
episodes done,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I feel like I could read 1,000-page book significantly faster if it was 500 chapters than if it was four.
Yeah.
Still 1,000 pages, but think about that. Just the way that I explained that. 1,000-page book, it's 500 chapters. But you're like, oh, it's like 2 pages. I'll do like 10, 15. I'll do like 100 chapters today. And then you know what I mean? Like, think about the way that goes in your
Yeah.
mind. Dude, I knocked out like 100 chapters like that. But if there's 333 pages,
8
it's a 3 chapter
chapters.
book. Yeah, 200. Yeah, fuck that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's because of how you can break it down. And
Yeah,
like
easy.
I can plan it a lot better, you know? But
That's
also,
right.
yeah, I think content consumption wise, with like videos and stuff, I'm in the same exact boat. I'm like, God, hour-long episodes. I gotta concentrate the whole hour, bro, to understand what's going on. Or I can watch 3 episodes of Home Improvement.
Hmm?
You know?
I It's a wash. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. All right, we got to get into these WWYBDs. What would you be doing drinking this non-alcoholic beer?
Mine's super easy because this is what I actually keep. I don't drink a lot of non-alcoholic beers, but at a point in time, I used to keep them around for exactly this. So I went through this phase where like I would cut the grass at like 2 in the after. To be 100% honest, I would find my what?
2 in the afternoon? You would wait that
Yeah.
long?
Well, so here's the thing. For some reason, dude, it was like probably like a 8 month stretch. I found myself with like the only available time period to cut the grass was on a weekday between like 2 and 4 p.m. because I would have work either overnight or I would have work super early in the morning, and then I was traveling a lot on the weekends, or we had a bunch of plans on the weekends. And so during that 2 to 4 stretch, like you can't start like you want a beer because that's what you do when you're cutting grass, but it's not a weekend, so you can't like morning drink or day drink with it, and you still got shit you got to do in the afternoon. And I found that I could cut grass, and between weed eating or between cutting or whatever, like when you come in to get a new tool, bro, you could just slam one of these bad boys and it feels so refreshing. It's like you're drinking a beer, but you can go back to work when you're done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a lawn day beer for you.
It's a lawn day beer.
Okay.
A midday lawn beer, which is kind of weird. Maybe that's a small portion of people's time, but a midday lawn beer.
I
If
can
I
see
if
it.
I cut grass for a living, all day long I'll be drinking these in the afternoon because you're gonna need the carbs anyways.
That's true. And the sugar probably.
Yeah.
Get you a little extra energy hit real quick.
Yep.
Hey yo, what we got? We need to get some energy drink beers out there, bro. What the hell?
They have them. I'm pretty sure it started sending people to the hospital. Remember Sparks? Me and Katie were talking about this the other day. Like right as soon as we got in, like right at the end of high school for us, beginning of college, there was this energy drink called a Spark that was like 7% alcohol, and it was like killing people. but they were delicious. They were.
Like Four Locos.
Yeah,
People,
basically.
people, people were like, "Hell yeah, Four Locos! I'm gonna drink three of them and then die."
So that's the thing too. They sold Sparks in like I think you could get a 30 pack of them. So
Br-
dude, you would just drink that the whole night and like
Why
300,
would
I
you
don't
want to
remember,
be that energized?
bro, because they tasted delicious and you just
Jesus.
never needed a second win because you just rode that fucking high. Anyways, go ahead. They might still be around.
I think for me, this beer is like a walking beer, you know, out in the
Yeah.
heat, like summer, springtime, kind of like walking through the park on like a m- brunch time, like 10:30,
Mhm.
10:30, 11, walking through a public park, just drinking a couple of these bad boys, on the
Is it
sidewalk.
is it so you can just play like you're day drinking but you're not? Or is it because it's
Uh,
refreshing?
Both, I guess. Just kind of like a little pre-beer game, pre-game beer.
Yeah.
Go out, you're like trying to be healthy, but you're like, but I still kind of want a beer,
Oh yeah.
you know?
I
That
feel
kind
you.
of, or like you took the kids to the park and you and your wife are walking around on the sidewalk while they're playing. You're like, I want a beer, but also I have to drive. So,
Yeah, I feel you. I just feel like because there's all the time I just want to taste beer, but I don't want
yeah.
the impact. Yeah,
Yeah, you think we can make beer flavored toothpaste?
dude, or like these little like Crystal Light, or what do you call them? Like Crystal Light packets
Yeah.
with beer,
Yeah, they got like Kool-Aid ones too.
Mio beer, or
Oh
whatever.
God.
Hey,
Imagine the breath after that though.
all right,
People
so
would
I'm
just
gonna.
be people would just be squirting the Mio right into their mouth like they did.
All right, so I'm just gonna run this by you real quick, and then we can leave it alone. Maybe we can revisit it yesterday. So a Sparks included caffeine, taurine, ginseng, guarana, like every other energy drink. The lowest version they had was the light, and it was 6%. It was sugar free. That's legit. What?
The lowest was
Yeah.
6%.
And then they had a 7%, which was the black Sparks. And they had an 8%, which was the Sparks Red. BT Dub, dude. The smallest they came in was a 16-ounce can. So it was tall boys or 24 ounces, dude.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
They were available until 2021.
I never heard of them ever.
Yeah, dude. We used to buy them by the freaking 30 rack, and
But
they're 100.
did it taste like beer or was it just like a hard energy drink?
No, they tasted like a hard energy drink.
Yeah,
Dude,
no.
they were,
I want a beer that has energy stuff in it.
bro, you ready for this? Just wrap your mind around this. Just ballpark what you think the nutrition facts are on that.
Listen, I'm not going to know stat by stat. I'm going to say 180 calories.
350, dude. 47 grams of carbs, bud.
Oh my God.
And we were just murdering 12 packs of this,
Jesus
hoping to
Christ,
stay
dude.
alive to see another day. Anyway, that's a story for another day.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. See, my age group's downfall was the Four Loco. So
Yeah, which is
it
why
is
to
fine.
most of us that had already lived the Sparks life, we were like, it really can't be killing people. Come on.
I I
Bro, what
just
is it, like 180 calories and like 300 milligrams of caffeine? I could
I
drink a case of them.
I just drank a case of monsters, bro.
Dude,
M-
two
Laced with
freaking
vodka.
Sparks was a 2,000 calorie diet, basically. Son of a bitch, dude. How were they even letting that? This is when they probably started writing laws about how you market shit to people. Because immediately we were like, was that an alcoholic energy drink? Fuck yeah, I'll take 12.
Give me all of them. Oh
Sorry,
God.
O'Douls. Let's
Yeah.
get back to where we should be.
All
Ratings.
right. Yeah, we got to get
Are
into
you
the
ready? Are you going
ratings.
to send it?
Yeah, I'll go. Uh Entry, I have a 4. It's okay. I was on the fence between 4 and 3, but aftertaste, I have a 3. Again, on the fence between 3 and 2. It falls off pretty quick. You get a lot of water afterwards. Listen, this is the only one I've had, so they're all kind of middle of the road because I'm expecting better and I'm expecting worse.
Yeah.
Body, I have a 3 again, just because of the wateriness nature to it. But it is very close to a beer if you never had one. It's pretty close on the tip of the tongue, the teeth, the lips.
Yep.
Color, I gave it a 4. It looked pretty damn good when you poured it out. Pretty damn good. Bitterness, I have a 4. Again, it tastes to me just like a Rolling Rock, so that's good for me. Acidity, I have a 3. Really have I have no recollection of like any citrusy nature to it, so I just kind of rolled with that. And then fizz, I have a 4. The burps hit really hard for me in the beginning, kind of fell off, but I am still getting some. So it could be like 4 or 5, but I'm giving it a 4. So that's my total is a 25.
Mine was kind of the opposite. I didn't have much. I mean, I'm going to get into my rating, but I didn't have much at the beginning, and now they're starting to hit me. I feel like I built a good base.
Yeah.
It was a healthy.
Just
So,
bubbling in there.
entry, I do have a. And again, everyone has to remember, I'm tired of reiterating this. Hell, we're 69 episodes in, that this is based on our evaluation of the perfect non-alcoholic beer. I have had a bunch of them, some of which, well, I mean, I know this one for sure that I've had in the past, some of which that we will continue through the rest of Sober September and enjoy, but even outside of that. And by the way, we'll get into this later on in other weeks, but like there's a lot of non-alcoholic offerings. Even craft breweries now have a big push for this. But anyways, entry, I have a 4. I think it approaches way better than it finishes. I'm only going to deduct 1 point for its aftertaste, but could be a 2 because you get hit with the flavor and then immediately it turns to water after that.
It's great in the mouth initially.
Yep. So 4 entry, aftertaste, I have a 3. Body, I have a 4. I think it fills it out. I get the impression that there's a beer there, right? And it's weird that we're not comparing this one against. We're kind of comparing this one against 2 things: regular beers and also non-alcoholic beers, which I don't think is fair. But anyways,
for me, it's against regular beers right now because it's the only one I've had.
And then color, I do have a 4. Almost could be a 5. I don't think it's the perfect, but it's better than just run of the mill. Bitterness, I have a 2. Again, that watery feeling to it, the watery texture, taste kind of takes things away. Same with acidity. It needs more to be just middle of the road. And then fizz, I do have a 5 because, like I said, I get the burp. Honestly, the thing I love about beer is the bitterness and the taste, because y'all know I like skunky, and then the burp. And if I can get that in a decent, alchemy kind of way without the alcohol, that makes a good non-alcoholic beer. So I end up with a total of 24.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. So like we've said, we're going to be doing 3 more of these this month. All different brands, obviously. So be prepared for that the next few weeks.
Also, too, I would throw out there, I don't know if anybody else is doing Sober September or if there's a bunch of them, like No Beer November. Like, there's a bunch of random
Sober October.
Sober October. You can brand them however you want, but, like, if you have a favorite non-alcoholic beer, let us know, because I'm always interested in seeing what we're capable of pulling off by pulling out the alcohol.
Agreed. All right, we've gotten to that point in the podcast where I'm going to tell you to go follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Off the Tap Pod, and on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Off the Tap Podcast.
Surprisingly, compared to other episodes, we're able to close with a clear mind.